It's my incredible pleasure to introduce our speaker for the next 3 weeks, actually, not just today. Maria Odono is a registered dietitian, and she has worked. She has worked with Filipino Americans and Latino populations and a lot of different ethnic groups. And so she's really customized her presentations today, next week, and the following week for you guys. We have talked with her. We met probably 3 or more times to talk about what the needs are of the population. So feel free to talk about what you need in terms of knowledge, ask lots of questions because she's really smart and she knows lots of answers. And I think you'll be really happy with the presentation today. So without further ado, I'm going to let Maria introduce herself a little bit more and launch into her fabulous presentation. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you. Good afternoon for everyone. Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. My name is Maria Odono. So I am currently working in a long-term care facility. Actually, it's a subacute in Kindred. And for being here, I've experienced as a 12 years registered dietitian. I've been working in acute facilities, long-term care, psych facilities. I've been doing cooking demonstration, counseling, one-on-one counseling or group counseling, or teaching class like this. So I've been a speaker in some of the community settings that I presented them some simple, easy to do recipe that's going to be useful for them, that they can take away and use it in their daily lives. So we're going to start with this topic about healthy eating to reduce high blood pressure.
Can you speak up a little bit more?
Okay. So our learning objective for today is to understand what is healthy eating means. Does it need to be vegan? It doesn't need to be a vegetarian. Do we have to be keto diet? Those kind of things. We will kind of generalize all those information in one. And we need to be informed of the dietary guidelines. As a Filipino living here in America, we follow US dietary guidelines. That is, encompasses everyone. But as a Filipino, we have to cater in our needs based on what we have learned when we were young and grown as here, being culturally adapted to Americans. And we learned about the DASH diet. I don't know if you know about the DASH diet, but this is a good time for you to understand what is DASH diet. And we need to understand and how to read the different labels that we always see in every day when we go shopping for our groceries list. So what is wrong in Filipino diet? So basically, the dietary acculturation of Filipino Americans, as well as other immigrants, adopt the Western diet. It is so-called high in processed food, low in vegetables and fruits, high intake of meat, sweets, and the desserts, which results to cardiac disease, especially. It starts with high blood pressure. Not only that, the kind of quality of the food of the Western diet, but it also encompasses the way it was prepared. It's always easy to go. What is easy, we are always on the go, so we just need to grab what is always available, in the market. So that's the problem. So by definition, healthy eating begins with healthy food choices. You don't need to be a chef, or you don't need to be a dietitian to learn what is healthy eating. But you learn how to what to look for, what to find in local grocery stores, in restaurants, or in any eating occasion. This is according to American Heart Association. And healthy eating is also basically it's a way for a healthy life. So I'm gonna go over with this, but again, it's there's a dietary guidelines It is a compilation of, foods and beverages that helps people to choose, what is healthy and what is a healthy dietary pattern. How much foods and the beverage, how much it needs to be consumed to reduce the risk of the, certain diseases, which is, diet chronic related diets such as diabetes or heart disease, which are very chronic or really related to diet. And again, it doesn't say nutrient requirement, but the quantitative guidance on how much food we should be eating. And again, the dietary guidelines, the mission is to help promotion and not to prevent the diseases. Basically, the dietary guidelines, it helps you to, guide you, like what to eat and how to eat them. And again, by doing or choosing the right thing, you're preventing the diseases. Dietary guidelines, it composes from early stage of life, from infancy, from teenage life to adulthood. Again, individuals can customize the elements of dietary guidelines to tailor and make affordable choices that meets their personal, cultural, and traditional preferences. So basically, it's very general. That dietary guidelines is very general. So here, we kind of string it down. Healthy eating routine. This is what it says there. This is just a summary, okay? Because the dietary guidelines is a very thick information. So we kind of sum up some of the information. Choose a variety of healthy foods that we enjoy. So the key term here is whole fruits such as apples, berries, any fresh fruit like what we are eating right now. So that's an example of whole foods. Whole grains, brown rice because it's not processed very well to remove the brown or the membrane of the rice itself. Oatmeal, burger, and whole wheat bread. Whole wheat versus white bread. Again, the more processed, it's not getting to be very nutritious. Yeah. So corn or whole wheat tortillas versus the white flour tortillas. Plain popcorn versus the corn chips. Because remember, when you see the corn chips versus the popcorn, it is less processed compared to corn chips.
So which is better, popcorn or chips?
Popcorn. It's better to have a popcorn because of the volume. You would see it versus 9 servings of chips, or it's 11 servings of chips versus a cup of popcorn. So it's more less calories and more volume. Low fat or fat-free dairy, it can be found in milk, yogurt, cheese, lactose-free dairy, and fortified soy beverages such as the milk and yogurt. I know Filipino doesn't have, is not a fan of milk. So is anybody that is not lactose? 2%. Are you customized in drinking milk now?
No, lactose intolerance.
Okay. Well, it's good to have a cheese because it's or milk is a good choice of good source of calcium. And also, I would really encourage that you be in how do you call this? Choose the yogurt because of the probiotic content of that, which is very helpful in digestion.
Yogurt is a good choice.
So if you're not a fan of drinking milk, you can use your yogurt as a source of calcium.
Maria, if you wouldn't mind, when people ask questions, could you repeat the question because we're recording. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Does anybody get that information? That question? What's the question again? If it's
in yogurt.
It's since the Filipinos are not into milk,
yeah.
yogurt is a good choice because it's a good source of protein as well.
Right. Yeah. So that was the question. So is it better to have a yogurt versus milk? And since people doesn't drink very much, Filipino culture, so yogurt is a good choice to have a calcium source or food.
Will you gonna tell us how much of the, I'm trying to drink milk. What is the, like how many
Usually
cups?
1 cup.
1
1
cup
cup.
is fine.
Okay, so we go back. We will try to have those questions at the end of the presentation, so we can go over with all the presentations. It's kinda,
And everybody speak up when you ask the questions because the people back here can't hear.
okay.
Yeah.
Let me just go one closer. So again, healthy eating routine. It also encourages you to choose a variety of healthy foods that you enjoy. I don't know if you enjoy vegetables, but when I was young, I was raised, like really, try to consume a lot of vegetables. And when I grow older, as I become a dietitian, I love eating vegetables. What are the vegetables? Example: broccoli, sweet potatoes, beets, okra, spinach, peppers, and jicama. The good advice on this is make sure your plate is half of them are fruits. Vegetables, because of lesser calories and it's more nutritious dense. What are the vegetables that you can incorporate there? Dark green veggies, red orange veggies. So make it colorful so it's not kind of bland, or it doesn't look very not appetizing without the color. So like beans, peas, and lentils, or black beans and chickpeas, those are good sources. Starchy vegetables like potatoes or plantains and other vegetables, Brussels sprouts, squash and cauliflower, those are good choices. But I think bok choy, that's the common thing for our Filipino, and what else? Pechay. Yeah, so
Bok choy.
mustard. Yeah, mustard. Those are. Yeah. So if you go to Asian store, you can also always find some good green vegetables there. You can just basically just steam them, or put some good olive oil and and pepper, and it tastes very good already. Okay. Again, choose a variety of healthy foods, proteins. Again, lean meats, chicken, eggs, seafoods, beans and lentils, meats, and nuts and seeds and tofu. These are good sources of protein. Oils, vegetable oils, not the ones that are coming from, saturated fat coming from meat or, like beef or pork or chicken. But the vegetable oils such as olive oil, avocado, and nut oils, those are good choices versus, again, like those meat oils coming from meats. Again, who drinks alcohol here? Does anybody are accustomed or
occasionally?
Occasionally. Okay, so that's good. So
That's
you won't.
occasionally when there's an
The one that tastes like Sprite.
Socially.
Okay. Well, again, we just need to limit them. 1 drink or less for women, and 2 drinks or less in a day for men. Again, drinking less is better for your health, especially when we get older. And that's not recommended for pregnancy. And I don't think we have any population right in general, so we have to cut back on added sugars. These are found in, you know, sugary drinks like soda or fruit drinks, you know. We have to limit our treats like cakes and cookies or candy. Because you know these are added sugars. These are not naturally occurring on foods that we usually eat, like what I mentioned. You know, fruits or vegetables or starch, like the grains and the breads. So we have to cut down on those sugars. Saturated fat. This is again mostly found in animal sources. If you're not aware, butter, cheese, whole milk and fatty meats. Some of the plant foods such as coconut oil and palm oil, those are sources of saturated fat. So we have to prefer, again, seafood that is omega-3 from salmon or tuna or sardines, avocado, nuts and seeds, and olive oil. Those are better choices than what I have mentioned before. And then, again, we have to cut back on soju, which is found in salt, but it's also usually found on packaged food and restaurant meals. You know, so if we are accustomed on buying food outside and you're not prepping your food, then you're technically have a high sodium content of intake. And so that's why it's recommended to cook meals at home or flavor your foods with herbs and spices. That's what we are going to do next. Okay, so again, we just need to be aware of how many calories we need. So on this slide, you know, myplate.gov, or my plate plan, it gives you like an app, like, you know, how much calories you can do. I can do, you know, everybody's calorie intake, but you can individualize them by putting your age, your, if you're male or female, your weight, how much your height, and then how much physical activity you have in a day, and then it will calculate how much calories you can, you know, you need to do. But an average, it's about 1,500 to 1,500 to 2,500, and the average is 2,000 calories per day. So that's why when you see your labels, it's based on the 2,000 calorie, because that's the average intake of common. But again, individuals' height and weight varies, so that's why it's kind of different for everyone. We have, as part of nutritious or healthy eating, we have to know or read the food labels or the nutrition facts. This is the example of you know, label that that I want to show, because it's usually found on packaged container. Even here, I have this, and I would show it to everyone later on. So these are what are you needed to do, or what you need to look for on that. You need to know the serving size, the calories, and then the percentage values. 5% or less is low, or 24% more is high. Different category of nutrition, such as sugar, salt, and sodium, fat, I'm sorry. They have, you know, different levels, and I will go over in the coming slides. Again, you need to be mindful of how much calories you have for the day, and then the serving. So if you see nutrition facts, 8 servings per container, and the serving size is 3/3 cup. I brought some example of measuring cups and spoons, so you kind of get, you know, the picture of, you know, how much is in a label. A serving suggestion is needed. So we will go over that later on. And pretty much, I think that's it. So again, the different on that column, it shows you the different food items, and this is the symbol of, we don't carry measuring cup all the time, right? So we kind of like use the visual of our hands to kind of help us, how are we going, how much is the serving size that is being written on the nutrition facts. So let's say, for example, a cheese string, a serving size is 1.5 ounces. A 2 tablespoons is 2 ounces, but you don't, see the string cheese by the spoon. So you kind of use your finger, and the size of your finger, it says there is the, a size of a string cheese. What else we can get a good example? Dry cereal. Who eats dry cereal in the morning? No? Okay. So there you go. Dry cereal, it says 1/5. So that's about a cup. So this is about a cup of dry cereal that we're supposed to eat in the morning. And we don't usually have that around. So if we have, a container like this, so this is a very small portion. So again, it's very important that we follow the serving size so that, again, the sodium content doesn't accumulate. So if that amount is only, says, you have 120 milligrams of sodium, but if you eat 2 servings of that, that's about 200 something already of sodium in here, right? So, again, we are going on the food claims on calorie and sugar content on food labels. So I don't know, have you seen these food claims such as calorie free, low calorie?
Yeah.
Are you familiar with them as you go with your grocery items?
Yeah.
So,
Sometimes it's misleading though.
yes. Sometimes they would say fat free, right? But the sugar content is very high. So you kind of like, see the label really, like what it says there. So you know how much sugar there or how much carbohydrates are in there. Okay. So again, calorie free, there's supposed to be only less than 5 calories. Low calorie, it has need to have only 40 calories or less. Reduced calorie, it means 25% of that calorie was removed. Let's say a reduced calorie soda, for example. Let's say 1 can or half can of that is 100 calories. So if it's reduced calorie, it means it still has 75 calories because only 25% are removed from that. Serving of that particular food item. Sugar-free, again, you shouldn't have any sugar in there, less than 0.5 grams of sugar. Reduced sugar or less sugar, again, 25% of the sugar was removed from the product. And then no added sugar, meaning there's no additional sugar. It's naturally, just sweet, like, the fruit is no sugar added, unless we throw some, sugar or syrup in there, then it's already some added sugar. I want to emphasize this, the sugar content of common drinks. So versus water, towards your left, right, there's no sugar. And compared to soda, this is the amount of sugar that we are drinking. So, so that's why less processed is more recommended than what we are usually accustomed to drink.
And that's part of the reason why we're serving water all the time, is to hydrate you, but also to get you in the habit of it, because people say, well, I don't like the taste of water. Well, water doesn't really have a taste. Sometimes there's a little bit because of not the chemicals, but the minerals in it. But we need to hydrate more with things that are not processed. And when I saw that Coke, I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, never again.
Yeah. So imagine again, sugar is actually disrupts our metabolism. That's why later on the stage of life, people develop diabetes because people have, in cellular level, their metabolism was disrupted or being destroyed by, the sugar or the foods that they usually eat.
If you're diabetic on the food level, what is the sugar value?
Mm-hmm.
So what is beneficial to you?
For if you're diabetic? Well, again, it's very difficult for a person that's really accustomed to drinking a soda. I really don't really recommend like 0-calorie soda because again, it's kind of disrupt your metabolism later on as the stage of life is advanced. Really recommended is water or tea, that has some, it's just for really hydration.
Not only for the soda, but sometimes I read sugar, because I'm diabetic, so I'm particular with the sugar. Mostly it says 26 something. Is that
26 grams of sugar?
is that high or?
Because 1 gram of carbohydrates is 15 grams.
15.
So, I'm sorry, 1 serving or 1 count of carbohydrates is 15 grams of carbohydrates. So that's about 2 already. So if you can just make half of that, drink, so that you can just have lesser intake of sugar, and then you can have your other nutritious foods compared to that kind of drink. So.
Can you talk a little bit about sugar and the processed sorts of sugars and the relationship to triglycerides? Because I think that's another thing that people really aren't aware of, is how those refined sugars compared to complex carbohydrates are converted to fat, which elevates your triglycerides. So if you would talk, could you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So basically, if you have your simple sugar, like when you ingested them, it goes. I think that there's not so much metabolism inside your body, so it just goes directly to your bloodstream. Compared to if they are in, whole grains or whole breads, they have fiber in there. So these fiber actually kind of like slows down the absorption of your sugar in your body. So that's why it doesn't raise your blood sugar. And again, later on, when your body doesn't use that sugar, it gets into your blood system, and if you don't use it, it turns into fat. So that's why your blood triglycerides kind of get elevated too at a certain time. Let's say in 3 months, it can be accumulated. That's why people are accustomed on eating simple sugars. They have if they don't modify their intake or their diet, they kind of also have like higher triglyceride levels, because again, their consumption is more of the regular sugar versus those that are naturally occurring or whole, or those that are high in fiber. So again, that's why incorporating high fiber foods to your diet is very helpful. So that's it. This is about the fat content on food labels. So we have fat-free, low-fat, reduced fat, low in saturated fat, lean, extra lean, or light. I think we can, you know, discuss. Extra leave meaning